The Indianapolis Colts have been hit with more bad injury news, and it could be serious enough to send one of their key players to injured reserve, IR. Meanwhile, the Houston Texans just placed their top wide receiver on IR as well. Plus, there's news about Jabrill Peppers being put on the commissioner's exempt list, and Aaron Rodgers is speaking out about rumors of Saleh getting fired. Let's break it all down. First, let's talk about the Colts. Just a short while ago, it was announced that their top wide receiver, Pittman Jr., is dealing with a back injury. This injury will keep him out for several weeks, and he could even end up on IR. Last season, Pittman had over 1,100 receiving yards, and although Alec Pierce leads the team in receiving yards this season with 368, Pittman still has the most targets. Now, things are looking tough for the Colts as they prepare to face the Titans in Week 6. They might have to play without their starting quarterback, Anthony Richardson, their top running back, Jonathan Taylor, and now Pittman Jr. Richardson is practicing and moving well after recovering from a hip injury, so there's a chance he might play. If not, they've got Joe Flacco, who's a solid backup. Taylor's status is still up in the air after spraining his ankle, and he didn't practice last week. The Colts, sitting at 2-3, are one of the most injury-riddled teams in the NFL right now. Facing the Titans might be a bit of relief, even though the Titans are coming off a win against the Dolphins. Moving on to the Texans. Bad news for them as well. Nico Collins, their top wide receiver, has been placed on IR after suffering a hamstring injury in Houston's win over the Bills. He had already entered the game with a minor hamstring issue but aggravated it on a huge 67-yard touchdown from rookie quarterback C.J. Stroud. He was quickly ruled out for the rest of the game, and head coach DeMeco Ryans described his injury as week to week. Unfortunately, that timetable changed, and now Collins will miss at least the next 4 games. This is a big blow to the Texans since Collins was having a breakout season, leading the league with 567 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns. Thankfully, the Texans have depth at wide receiver. C.J. Stroud will now likely look to Stephon Diggs as his top target, and players like Tank Dell, Robert Woods, Xavier Hutchinson, and John Mechie III will need to step up. Tight end Dalton Schultz could also see more involvement. Lastly, in troubling news, Patriots safety Jabrill Peppers has been placed on the commissioner's exempt list after being arrested. He's facing multiple charges, including assault and battery with a dangerous weapon, strangulation, and drug possession. It's a messy situation, with Peppers allegedly involved in a domestic violence case. Police responded to a call about a disturbance, and when they arrived, they found Peppers and a woman who claims they had been in an on-and-off relationship for about 3 years. I really hope Jabrill Peppers didn't do what he's accused of, because if he did, it's a terrible situation, and he'll have to face the consequences. When the police arrived after the incident, Peppers reportedly opened the door shirtless and said, "I know what's going on," before they arrested him. According to the police report, they also found a clear bag with a white powder that later tested positive for cocaine. Peppers pleaded not guilty on Monday and was released after posting a $2,500 bail. He's been ordered to stay away from the woman involved, and he agreed to do so. Peppers' attorney, Mike Browski, said the whole situation seems suspicious and that there's evidence, including video footage, that casts doubt on the allegations. We'll have to wait and see what happens. The police did confirm that the woman was treated for injuries to her face and knees, so there's more to be uncovered here. Patriots head coach Gerard Mayo addressed the situation, making it clear that both he and the team strongly oppose domestic violence. He also emphasized that Peppers, like anyone else, deserves due process. For now, the NFL has placed Peppers on the commissioner's exempt list, which gives the team time to gather more information. As of now, Peppers isn't allowed in the team's facility, and Mayo said they would address the situation further at a later time. For those who don't know, the commissioner's exempt list is basically paid leave for players involved in legal trouble. It's a special status that teams can use only in rare situations like this. While on the list, a player gets paid and can attend meetings, workouts, and treatment, but they can't practice or play in games. Only NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell can place a player on this list and decide when they can come off. Last year, Chiefs wide receiver Justin Ross spent about 6 weeks on the list, and it counted toward his suspension. Something similar might happen with Peppers, depending on what the league finds. Now, on to another bit of drama within the Patriots organization. Timing couldn't be worse for the team, given all the turmoil they've been dealing with. I mentioned this in a video last week. but there were rumors of a near mutiny within the team after they lost 3 straight games. Many players were frustrated that Jacoby Brissett was still starting, while their third overall draft pick, Drake Maye, was sitting on the bench. The Patriots just lost again to the Dolphins on Sunday, bringing their record to 1-4. Brissett only threw for 160 yards and no touchdowns in that game. So far this season, the Patriots are second to last in points per game, averaging only 12.4, and they're struggling in pretty much every offensive category. They're 24th in third down conversions and dead last in red zone scoring. Brissett has thrown for just 696 yards and 2 touchdowns in 5 games, with a 58.5% completion rate, which ranks 31st in the league. He's also been sacked a lot, though that's partly due to their offensive line, which is ranked as the worst in the NFL by PFF. But there's some hope for Patriots fans. Head coach Gerard Mayo has finally named Drake Maye as the starting quarterback for their upcoming game against the Texans this Sunday. I have mixed feelings about this, and I'm sure a lot of Patriots fans do too. On one hand, it's exciting to finally see Drake Maye in action. He was the third overall pick for a reason, with raw talent and a strong arm. We all want to see if he can inject some much-needed energy into this struggling offense. Let's be honest, it can't get much worse. If his athleticism adds a new dynamic, it could be exactly what this team needs. But on the other hand, this might be one of the toughest matchups to give him for his first start. As I mentioned earlier, the Patriots' offensive line is terrible. They've allowed the second most sacks this season with 19. Meanwhile, the Texans are ranked 8th in sacks, with one of the best edge-rushing duos in the league, Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson. It's almost like throwing Maye into the fire. He's not being set up for an easy debut, but expectations in New England are low right now. If he can just move the ball and avoid turnovers, fans will probably feel good about his progress. Moving on to quarterback news, Aaron Rodgers appeared on the Pat McAfee show today and shared his thoughts on the firing of Robert Saleh. I covered this topic in more detail in yesterday's video, so be sure to check that out if you haven't already. In short, the Jets fired Saleh after their 2-3 start this season. Many, including myself, think it might have been too soon to make that call. Saleh is a defensive-minded coach, and the Jets' defense has been one of the best in the league this year. It's their offense that's been holding them back, and I think Nathaniel Hackett, the offensive coordinator, deserves more blame for their slow start. But instead of firing Hackett, the Jets promoted their defensive coordinator, Jeff Ulbrich, to head coach. From what I've heard, Ulbrich is well respected in the Jets organization and has been a key part of their defensive success. Still, it's a strange choice. If the problem is the offense, why not fire the offensive coordinator? There's been speculation that Aaron Rodgers might have had something to do with Saleh's firing, especially since there were rumors that the two didn't get along. Meanwhile, Rodgers and Hackett have a history. They worked together for 3 years in Green Bay, and Hackett was brought in as the Jets' offensive coordinator when Rodgers joined the team. So it's easy to think Rodgers may have influenced the decision. Yesterday, it was reported that Jets owner Woody Johnson made the decision to fire Saleh all on his own, without consulting anyone in the front office. Saleh was reportedly blindsided by the move, and it seems most of the team, including Rodgers, was caught off guard too. Rodgers responded to these rumors on the Pat McAfee show, saying, "It's interesting the amount of power people think I have, which I don't. I love Robert, and yesterday was just one of those days." He also strongly denied having any role in Saleh's firing, calling the accusations patently false. While some people might still believe Rodgers had a hand in it, he seems pretty clear about his lack of involvement. Personally, my favorite conspiracy theory is that Woody Johnson fired Saleh because he was upset that the Jets lost to the Vikings in London. Johnson used to be the U.S. ambassador to the UK, and some think he took the loss personally. That's a funny idea, but I doubt it's the real reason. So, here's where I pass the question off to you. Do you think Aaron Rodgers had anything to do with Robert Saleh's firing, or do you think Woody Johnson made this decision on his own? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you all next time.